Welcome everyone to another Destiny 2 build video, and today we are going to be covering a build that truly makes me believe that Destiny does not playtest anything in their game. With the update that came this week, there were a couple of sandbox changes that surely didn't affect the game at all. And specifically what I'm referring to is the changes they made, making it where Ionic Sentry, Arc Soul, Hellion, Bleak Watcher, and Child of the Old Gods all count as grenades now for stats and perks. That might not sound like a lot, but if you really look deep into this game and look at how many things affect grenades, it's insane how big of a change this was. There is a prismatic build floating around that's gone super viral the past couple of days that abuses this change. I'm not going to be posting that just because there's an infinite amount of those build videos online of other people using the prismatic version, so you can find that plenty of places. But today I made a arc version of the build using Arc Souls and Ionic Sentries that just, once again, just absolutely fries everything. Like, I don't know how this is allowed. There is zero doubts in my brain that every single person at Bungie is a Warlock main, especially after today's update. It seems that Warlocks have pretty much always been good, and they just keep getting better. So yes, this build is going to be completely catered and focused around Arc Souls and Ionic Sentries. And the reason that they are extremely strong in this build is because of Spark of Shock. Spark of Shock is an arc fragment that makes it where our arc grenades will apply Jolt, and since Ionic Sentry and Arc Souls now count as grenades, they will also apply Jolt. They will also scale with our grenade stat, so we're going to be running a super high grenade stack to increase how much damage they do. And then just to make sure that we are able to get them up as much as possible, we are combining them with the exotic helmet Fallen Sunstar to be able to create an insane amount of ionic traces, just to make it where our abilities pretty much have zero cooldown and we can spam them all we want. This build is truly insane. The amount of dopamine you get just from shocking and frying everything, as well as blinding everything using the Spark of Beacons arc fragment by getting kills with our special weapons while amplified. Yeah, this just mows through everything. The gameplay you are currently watching is me inside of the Mythic difficulty campaign mission, and it doesn't stand a chance. Real quick before we get into the breakdown, I just want to give a shout out to a comment I received on my last Arc Hunter build video, and I just thought the timing of it was perfect. This was commented a little over a week ago saying, "Hey Blur, if you ever do a different class build, could you try to make a build around Ionic Sentry on Warlock?" And I don't know if this person can predict the future or something, because boy oh boy do I have an Ionic Sentry build for you. Shout out to whoever you are, thank you for the comments, and here is your Ionic Sentry build. So now let's go ahead and get down into the breakdown and let me show you what to run and why we are running what we are running. Alright, so first things first, we're going to be on Arc subclass, and that is because we're going to be running the duo of Ionic Sentry and Arc Soul. For those of you who are new and don't really know what those are, Arc Soul is a little kind of sentry turret thing that sits on your shoulder whenever you cast a rift, and it will shoot arc energy at enemies. And then Ionic Sentry is something that will replace our grenade ability. If you look there in my buff section, I have Ionic Sentry right now and a bunch of little squares I need filled out. Every time I get a kill with a weapon, it'll fill it up. And anytime I get a kill with an ability, it will also add 2 squares. So once you get that up to times 6, you'll get a new grenade ability. And what that is a little turret you throw out. Wherever it lands, it'll blind any enemies it hits. And then from there, it just shoots out arc energy, kind of like your Arc Soul. Now where things really get insane is when we combine those with this Spark of Shock arc fragment, where your arc grenades will now jolt targets. These two things are now classified as arc grenades, so if we look, my Arc Soul will now jolt, as well as my Ionic Sentry. If you get out the way, please. Yes, those will both now apply jolt, so you can honestly just run around, not shoot your weapon, and anything will die. One thing that's really cool to note too is if you don't have your Ionic Sentry up, your Arc Soul counts as an arc ability, so anytime you get a kill using your Arc Soul, it'll give you 2 little squares towards your Ionic Sentry. Now from there, for exotic armor, what I decided to pair with those two things is the Fallen Sunstar exotic. This comes with the perk Ionic Conductor, where ionic traces you create will move faster and grant you additional ability energy. Nearby allies also gain ability energy whenever you collect an ionic trace. We're going to combine that exotic with Coldheart, because Coldheart has the exotic perk here where it periodically generates ionic traces while in its high damage state. So if I go ahead and show you this on Carl, if I throw out all of my abilities, I have 0 ability energy. We'll use that, and I shoot him, it'll periodically create ionic traces. And as I grab these ionic traces, it'll give me little chunks of my ability energy. And I want you to know, you really feel how quick you get your abilities back. I mean, if you couldn't tell from the gameplay at the beginning, but you pretty much have infinite ability spam as long as you're getting kills with this and obviously collecting those ionic traces. From there, we're going to be running the Spark of Beacons arc fragment. This will make it where whenever we are amplified, our arc, special, or heavy ammo weapon final blows will create a blinding explosion. Luckily, Cold Heart is a arc special weapon. So whenever we are amplified like I am right now, we get a kill with it, it'll create a blinding explosion where anybody in the area becomes blinded. Now for the rest of our fragments, they're really going to be focused on one thing, and that is bolt charge. We're going to run a Spark of Discharge. This will make it where whenever we get arc weapon final blows, they will have a chance to create an ionic trace, which is really nice, but the main benefit of this fragment is the bottom text where collecting an ionic trace will grant us a stack of bolt charge. We're also going to run Spark of Frequency. The first part of text there doesn't really apply to this build, honestly, at all. It's that bottom text where, while amplified, the effects are increased and you gain increased stacks of bolt charge from all sources. This will basically make it where anytime we do gain a stack of bolt charge, we'll now get 2 instead of 1. So by combining Spark of Discharge and Spark of Frequency, all we need is 5 ionic traces and we can summon a bolt charge. And luckily, our Ionic Sentry and our Arc Soul count as arc abilities, so they will be able to proc the bolt charge. So I have bolt charge ready, I summon my Arc Soul. The first target it hits there, it summons a bolt charge. Like I said, I go ahead and kill a couple of enemies using Cold Heart, get enough of these Ionic Traces. Look, every time I grab one, it gives me 2. I now have bolt charge ready. Boom, it summons a bolt charge on an enemy whenever I damage them with either an Ionic Sentry or an Arc Soul. For our abilities, it entirely is up to you. I prefer Storm Grenade and Ball Lightning, but honestly, anything here works. You're going to want to go ahead and throw on Healing Rift. This is just going to be our form of healing in the build. Amplified plus standing in a Healing Rift, you pretty much should never really die. And then for your super, once again, up to you. I prefer Chaos Reach, but Storm Trance is another viable option. In terms of other weapons to pair with Cold Heart, it's up to you. In the heavy slot, I just recommend something Arc. I'm personally running Crux Termination. In the primary slot, it is kind of up to you. I never personally really ever use my primary in this build, and that is because Cold Heart is an all-in-one weapon. It kind of does everything. It does ad clear, it also does DPS, so you don't really need this. I'm personally just running a scout rifle that has shoot to loot and explosive payload, just so I can grab ammo bricks and orbs of power that are out of my reach. There are going to be a couple of artifact perks you're going to want to run that will boost this build. The first one being Refresh Threads. This will just make it where whenever we do grab an Ionic Trace, it will grant us ability energy to our least charged ability. You're going to want Elemental Coalescence. This just makes it where any target we kill has a chance to create an Ionic Trace. You're going to want Shield Crush. This will make it whenever we are amplified, our grenade will recharge faster and deal more damage, which by the way, now counts for Ionic Sentry and Arc Soul because they are classified as grenades now. And last but not least, you're going to want Elemental Overdrive. Let's make it where whenever we do grab an Ionic Trace, it will grant us increased damage to all of our arc weapons. And I don't know if you saw the build earlier, but you're going to have an Ionic Trace up at all times. In terms of armor stats, my Warlock stats honestly aren't the best, so kind of ignore them. But you're going to want as high as grenade stat as possible. Ionic Sentry and Arc Soul both get affected by this grenade stat now, so the higher you have it, the more damage they will do. From there, I recommend a high class stat, at least at 100, and that is just so we can get our Healing Rift up as much as possible so that we can always have an Arc Soul up. From there, I would spec into melee, even though mine's only at 50, it's not that high right now, but at least try to get melee also to 100 or whatever you can. From there, the rest of the stats are entirely up to you. Now for mods on your helmet, I recommend running 2 special ammo finders. This is just because we are running a special weapon as our primary weapon pretty much. We always want to be able to have special ammo up. Also throw on Harmonic Siphon so that our arc weapon final blows will create an orb of power. On the gauntlets, go ahead and throw on a grenade font just to increase our grenade stat whenever we do have an armor charge, as well as throw on momentum transfer and bolstering detonation. These will both make it that whenever we do damage with an Ionic Sentry or our Arc Soul, we will also gain class ability and melee ability. On chest piece, go ahead and throw on Harmonic Ammo Generation. This will just make it where our arc weapons will generate more ammo. And then throw on whatever 2 damage resist here you prefer. I'm personally going with Concussive Dampener and Sniper Damage Resist. For your boots, throw on Arc Weapon Surge so that our arc weapons do more damage whenever we have an armor charge. Go ahead and throw on Insulation just so we get class ability whenever we pick up an Orb of Power. And Arc Scavenger so that our arc weapons will get more ammo whenever we do pick up a brick. And finally, for our class item, throw on Time Dilation so our armor charge lasts longer, Reaper so that we create an orb of power every time we cast our rift, and Special Ammo Finisher just so anytime we do have 3 armor charge and we are out of special ammo, we can go get a finish off and get our special ammo. So that right there was the breakdown on the entire Ionic Sentry / Arc Soul build. If you are confused about anything or have any questions, please drop them down below. I will try to answer them, and if I can't, someone else probably will. But for now, let's go ahead and try this build out in some live gameplay for you. So for the build, we're gonna go ahead and take it into the Solo Ops Caldera, and with the plethora of mods I've applied, we're gonna go ahead and be 51 power under for this run. All right, so when using this build, it is extremely straightforward. You literally just want to enter fight with your healing rift, stand in it to heal, and from there just get ability kills and arc weapon kills to get your ionic sentry. Sorry for the stutter. Once you have that up, throw it at the group of enemies, and basically just murder everything. They do not stand a chance if you have everything up. From there, getting kills with your cold heart as well as dealing damage with your cold heart will create ionic traces to get your abilities back, to keep the loop going over and over and over again until everything is dead. There's overload here. Luckily that applies jolt, and this guy should hopefully get fried because of how much jolt we are actually applying to him, which does stun overload. Go in for the finisher and absolutely destroy that overload. Is this even an objective? Am I even supposed to be here? No, I am completely wasting my time on the wrong side of the map. All right, once again, use all your abilities. Go ahead and drop your ionic sentry and just watch everything get blinded and jolts. Beautiful. That drops special ammo. We have another ionic sentry. This is insane. This is not okay, man. Cool. All right, second objective down, on to the final and last objective. Just like that. Even though I got red bar there, I am standing in my healing rift, so it doesn't really matter as long as I kill the people quick enough. We have another healing rift, place that down, another melee, throw that, another ionic sentry, throw that. All right, I'm gonna stop yapping. I think you get the gist of everything. That is the third objective down. Let's go ahead and get on our way to the boss fight. Yeah, all of these enemies are blinded. They cannot do anything, man. That's crazy. Throw that up there. Come in with this. All right, let's open up with that. Throw our melee out there. Place our healing rift. Get our arc soul. And go to town. All right, I'm just gonna use my heavy on this guy, assuming I don't miss. All right, one more rocket should do it. No, one more. All right, there we go. I'm just gonna use cold heart. Ionic sentry, go. Healing rift, go. Cool. Give me both of those. Shoot the loot. All right, this should be enough to get rid of him. All right, there we go. One boss down. Luckily that somehow gave me a whole bunch of mercy ammo. And let's go get rid of this second guy. All right, lay into you with cold heart. Get ionic traces. Let's kill you with the arc soul just to have a dramatic way out. And there we go. Minus 51 power Caldera solo ops. Done extremely easily. All right, so that right there was the entire ionic sentry arc soul build. Hopefully you enjoyed what you saw and actually do give it a try for yourself. I cannot recommend it more. If you have any changes that you think that would make this build better, please drop them down below in the comments so other people can give them a try. If you enjoyed what you saw, please feel free to subscribe when we're on the road to 5,000 subs. But for now, that's gonna be it for me. If you made it this far, I love your face, and all you fine ladies and gentlemen, have a great rest of your day.